Being a Ferrari fan in 2025 must be very hard.
No. Wait. Wait.
And while there have been some ups, this was definitely not what we were expecting. Coming into the season, Ferrari dreamed of some titles with either Leclerc or Charles, but its hopes got shattered pretty quickly. I mean, after FP2 in Australia, that's pretty much been the only good session they've had this year where they looked extremely fast, maybe Monaco as well. And it's hit the drivers the hardest. This is definitely going to fracture that 2026 championship, considering all the background changes that are happening, and the technical team not being able to get down why the SF25 is as bad as it is. So I'm going to talk about this season and really in particular the team, why it's been such a struggle, and it's probably going to be a crisis for 2026 unless some big changes are made. If you're new here, please go ahead and subscribe. Means the world having you guys around. Genuinely makes my day reading the comments. Thank you all for the support. Let's get started with this Ferrari video. As I've said in the intro, I do believe that Leclerc and Hamilton are the only reason why this team is right now sitting P3 in the constructors and has an opportunity to finish P2. Baku was supposed to be a good GP. They finished P8 and P9. I do think this is partially on the drivers, being Leclerc because he crashed into the wall. But in Q2, if we actually look back to it, they put Hamilton on used softs, and Leclerc ended up actually ruining his first run as well. So part of it is on the team yet again. Now in the race, Lewis did not give up the position to Charles at the very end. I don't think it mattered much. They also gave him a radio that was pretty much towards the end, so he had to slow down dramatically. I don't think Leclerc really cares about those positions, neither does Lewis, so it's not going to be a big deal. But we've seen these radio transmissions cause plenty of problems. We saw that be a problem in Miami. Then for Charles, we completely forgot about how bad Hungary was, where the car had so many issues. He lost race-winning race pace towards the end because they didn't even communicate to him correctly that the car cannot ride at that low of a ride height for that long, even with a new rear suspension. In mentioning that upgrade, it's not done much. Maybe it's made the car a little bit more stable, but still, when you look at what Red Bull's been able to do with a floor upgrade and maybe a couple of other crucial elements, it was supposed to be Ferrari that capitalizes when McLaren is not doing good. Monza was supposed to be that race. Baku was supposed to be, yet again, another one with Charles Leclerc being a specialist there. And I would say it doesn't really matter what track you put him on. I doubt Ferrari will be the quickest car, whether that be in quali or the race. Of the four teams right now that are top four in the constructors, Leclerc and Hamilton are an amazing pairing. Has Hamilton had a rough year? Yeah, but it's still not been bad enough to where they're not fourth in the constructors. But it is crazy to think that Red Bull is close with Yuki and Liam for 2 races, considering they're only that far from actually getting ahead of Ferrari with one driver that's made up the majority of the points. And the same goes for Mercedes, where Russell has capitalized so many more times than Kimi, and they're actually ahead of Ferrari. The consistent finishes between P5 and 6 is what's actually saved them and kept them in this constructors, but by the end of the season, I wouldn't be shocked if they finish 4th. And some of the aspects that have made Hamilton and Leclerc struggle considerably in qualifying, where Lewis is losing 13-4. Lewis right now has 0 podiums, Leclerc has 5. The braking instability has really hindered Hamilton, and supposedly they're running 2 different brakes, one on Lewis's car, the other on Leclerc. And the big talk about 2026 is that the car is being made for Lewis. So what ends up happening if Leclerc, who's been the faster of the two, has no priority despite his pace? For 2026, putting it all together is going to matter a lot. Any of the upgrades that have been brought to the car in 2025 in particular have not done much. They had a floor upgrade in Bahrain that supposedly was supposed to make the car fast enough to compete with McLaren. That didn't happen. They ended up bringing another floor upgrade later in the season. That didn't make much of a difference either. And then the rear suspension that was talked about from pretty much race 3 was supposed to completely take away the issues, and now come to find out it's just an inherent problem that cannot be fixed, and overall the chassis has just been made poorly. And we're talking about 2025, but in 2024, they had kind of the same issue, had about 3 to 4 races to fix it, and I gotta say, they did do a decent job at the end, still wasn't the quickest car. In 23, for the majority of the season, they were probably up in P2, could never catch up to the Red Bull. And in 22, it was upgrades that actually made the car worse rather than better. Now, the good thing about this is the continuous problem has been the bottom portion of the car. It's been the floor, hitting the ground, and them worrying about whether they make it to the end of the race legal or not. Now that's going to go away in 2026. The floor won't be as important as it is now. But what about the bad strategy calls? Being very inefficient on setup, with both drivers struggling to make the car a very well-balanced one. And overall, just not taking accountability. I think that's a big problem with Ferrari ever since it's been a team. In the Binotto days, it was constantly something else was the problem and not the team making issues on the strategy. And now Vasseur kind of seems to be going into that same direction, saying they made the most out of the car and the pace still has to be unlocked, as if we haven't gone through a whole season and seen there really isn't that much pace to this car. In qualifying, they can never get up there, and in the race, it always tends to go backwards. Plus, right now, they do have two guys that are, of course, going to be the alphas of the team, Leclerc and Lewis. So deciding on the push they want to make on this 2026 car, which supposedly has already kind of given us some details. These are just rumors right now that it's super aggressive, super small side pod, something similar to that of the no side pod design in 2022. Which, if you listen to Italian media, they say this every single year, an aggressive, really fast car, they're going for a gamble. And then we end up getting this result.
Didn't say yourself.
Liars, they don't compare themselves with humans.
The engine also is getting rumored to be super fast. If you listen to Total Wolff, he'll tell you it's very slow. But the biggest thing is going to be the compromise they have to make between Leclerc and Lewis. There are some similarities to their driving style. Leclerc likes it a bit more slidey. Lewis likes a bit more of a stable car. Yes, he can control the oversteer, but he said that driving it in this style that Leclerc does just doesn't work for him and makes him ruin his tires in the race. And Hamilton has even gone on to say that he's insufficiently supported. He's been saying a lot about the 2026 car, that he's putting in a lot of work to make sure that they actually get down on what's burdening both drivers right now, and that he can go back a little bit to his more normal driving style. It's been an issue in this ground effect era. I hope that gets resolved with these new cars, where braking should be much more important. That's always been Lewis's strong suit. But the problems keep piling up for Ferrari. Also, there has been a lot of talk lately on their new technical director, who previously worked at Mercedes, has a very good track record. Supposedly, if it wasn't for Cardile leaving, it was supposed to be kind of a pairing leading that technical team. And just because Cardile left the team, went to Aston Martin, they're now in this position where they weren't so sure at dropping him as technical director. Also, there was talk that Vasseur was trying to recruit Adrian Newey. Of course, that didn't happen. So maybe that even puts a dent in what they expected to be the top dog for really the aerodynamic and technical team. For Lewis and Charles, it sucks to be drivers this good, to have this many problems with this team. Ferrari's always going to be looked at as the team that everybody hopes to do decent, because they do play a very important part to Formula One. It's Ferrari. Who wouldn't want to see them at the top, or at least doing very well? But if the drivers always have this in the back of their minds, they can't just focus on making the most out of the car and driving, it will hinder them, especially going into this new regulation period in 2026, where the cars will change dramatically. But drop your comments down below. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think they can turn it around? It's so many issues that Ferrari's had, and in every season, it feels like there is going to be some video made on somewhere in that team being problems, and it continuing from year to year. But I'd love to hear what you guys say. Please leave a like, subscribe. It'd mean the world, and peace.